water.
Scotty B going to work in the paint.
Eastern Conference Final. New NBA champion. And it's a team from Toronto, Canada. We, the North, are now we, the champions.
What is going on, Raptors Nation? Welcome back into the Raptors Nation podcast. I'm your host, Luca Rosano. Joining me is Sean Davis. He is back. He is ready to go as Sean's got a Lakers game to get ready for in about an hour. So I appreciate his time hopping on this pod. We're going to talk about the Raptors' first preseason game. We're going to get into Darko's 0.5 offense. And then at the end of the show, we're going to get into our predictions for this season as the NBA regular season is just around the corner. Before we dive right into it, do us a solid, hit a like over here on our YouTube channel on this video. It helps it a ton. Subscribe to the Raptors Nation YouTube channel, trying to hit 1K subs. And also wherever you find your podcast, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating. Sean, welcome back. I'm a man of my word. I said Sean would be back soon enough. And here he is, a couple weeks out from the regular season.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me back on, Luca. This is a ton of fun. I'm going to spend the first couple of minutes just giving you your flowers. Luca has taken over the channel, 2 months ago now? Right?
Yeah, I would say about a month and a half, yeah.
Yeah, post-summer league.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Post-summer league.
Yeah, you're right.
And all Luca has done in the time since has consistently pumped out like great content, better than I ever could for the channel. He's hit several videos. I've hit over 1,000 views. Almost got the channel at 500 subscribers. That's all Luca. I'm glad I could be a small part of it, but Luca, shout out to you, man. And I'm super excited for the growth of the channel, your own personal channel as well. And it's gonna be a fun year. Even though I'm not covering the Raptors like I was last year, it's gonna be still a really fun year. And I might watch a lot more Raptors games than I thought it was, Luca, and we'll talk about why in a little bit.
I appreciate that, Sean, and some big news for you as well. Sean is now hosting the post-game show after Trevor Lane. You're gonna have Sean Davis over there at the Lakers Nation covering the games, and like I said, he's got to get ready for the Lakers game in just an hour.
No, time. I don't. There's no Bron, no Austin, no AD. I don't have to get ready for anything. I could just show up. I could probably show up a half an hour late tonight and get away with it.
And that's the thing about preseason. I was talking to Sean about this off air. We just want the real thing to start. Like preseason is exciting for the first.
I've gotten 2 games, right?
But yeah, after you get over those first initial games, like bring on the real stuff because you want to see players in action. But Speaking of the preseason, the Raptors only played 1 preseason game. It's weird, Sean. I don't know what the reasoning is, but like the Lakers are about to play their 3rd game. Some of these teams
they're going to play their 4th Friday.
Their 4th game, and the Raptors are going to play their 2nd game on Sunday. And the Raptors only have 4 preseason games in total. Meanwhile, the Lakers, I believe, have 7. So
6, unless I'm missing one. I think it's 6.
So I have no idea why the Raptors play fewer preseason games. So I don't know. I guess that's good news for the Raptors. Hopefully they are fresh for the regular season. But sticking to their first preseason game, I just wanted to kind of go over our takeaways, main things that stood out to us when watching this team. I did do a full-on live stream after the Raptors won.
Another thing, shout out to you for doing that. I think I did one of those last year. Oh, yeah, shout out to Luca.
Yeah, we did that one together, actually, and I think the Raptors lost that one. So it was nice to actually do a live stream in which the Raptors won. But I'll get us started here. I think, my main takeaways for starters, it was good to see the Raptors winning the game, and it was good to see the vibes a lot better, Sean. I mean, this team was playing like just a different style of basketball. They were moving the ball around.
Yeah.
Ball movement was at an all-time high. Different guys touching the ball. I love that the Raptors were able to rack up the assists. They were able to, get different guys involved. I like Gary Trent Jr. As he got revealed as a 6th man. He had a great game. Scotty Barnes looks like he might be ready for that next step. And just the bench as a whole, and I did a separate video on this, looks promising. You're going to potentially have a deep bench. And, Grady checked into the game late in the 3rd quarter. He kind of got like a hero's welcome, which was cool to see in front of that Vancouver crowd. So all in all, it was a very promising opener for the Raptors. They looked a lot better. The ball moved a lot better. The vibe seemed better. And I know it's just a preseason game, but you got to feel good if you're a Raptors fan after seeing that performance, because it does look like the Raptors are going to have a different style to them, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. So those are just some of the things that stood out to me. And I'm excited to see the further development of the young guys, obviously being under a player development coach in Darko Rajakovic. So, Sean, from what you saw, what stood out to you the most? Because you saw how much of a disaster last season was for this team. What stood out to you the most in the Raptors' first preseason game?
Sorry, I was trying to put the sound panel back up. It just fell again. But like you said, man, they're playing with a ton of energy. The ball was moving a ton more, a lot better than it had been. And I think Nick Nurse is a great head coach, but you can kind of tell that they just needed a different voice in the locker room. I think sometimes, a coach's voice can kind of get like played out in a locker room. And when that happens, you have to notice it. And the Raptors did notice, and they moved accordingly. We'll talk about it later, but this Raptors team might be better than I initially thought they were going to be. And I think that's because you don't want to overreact to preseason, right? So I'm not just saying this because the Raptors actually won their preseason game, because how I view preseason is more about process over results. So like if the Raptors had lost by 15 or lost by 13, which is what they wound up winning by, they lose by 13. Based off I was able to watch a little bit of the film earlier, Luca, and I would have been like as ecstatic to talk about the Raptors as I am now, even though they won by 13. So, and I'll explain why I'm super ecstatic in a topic that I'm sure we're going to dive in here in just a sec. But yeah, I mean, they're playing hard for Darko. Jakob Poeltl is such a clean fit, and for what this team wants to do, especially on the offensive end. Gary was great. I love some of the actions they ran for Gary Trent Jr. They ran this nasty set. I don't even remember. I can't even draw it up on top of my head right now. But they ran this nasty set in the first quarter for Gary Trent Jr. that gets him a decent look at a three. I think he missed it, but it's so good in terms of like the play design to where I'm stealing it from my high school team that I coach. So thank you, Darko, for adding to my playbook. Yeah, it was super, super fun. And I'm optimistic as an outside opinion, if you will, for this Raptors team this season.
Yeah, and it was revealed that the Raptors rolled out their starting lineup of Schroeder, OG, Barnes, Siakam.
Which I think we predicted. I think we predicted that. It was either that or like Point Scotty.
It's funny, yeah. We were debating it in our last show, and I think, yeah, you predicted it, and you said that the Raptors were going to run Schroeder. At one point, I believe they were going to go Point Scotty, but then where I kind of jumped back to the idea of Schroeder starting, which is the case now, is after Schroeder had the phenomenal FIBA World Cup run. I think, that was like solidifying, okay, like this guy's starting. You heard some of the stuff Darko said about how he thought Schroeder was going to do a good job this season, the familiarity between both those guys. Obviously, Darko coached Schroeder in OKC. He was an assistant coach. So I think that makes sense. I know there's some people who are upset that Gary Trent Jr. is coming from off the bench, but we might get to this a little bit later, Sean. I actually like Gary Trent Jr. as a sixth man. And I mean, I'm not going to overreact to his preseason stat line in that first game, but if Gary Trent Jr. plays like that, I think we could both agree he's got sixth man of the year potential, and he could be a lethal weapon from off the bench to inject life into this Raptors offense. And I mean, we saw it, right? Gary comes in, hits his first couple of three balls, gets not only himself going, which is important, but just opens things up for his teammates. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. So I think that's something to keep an eye out for. And that's going to, go into the bigger picture of the Raptors bench being so much better, because the Raptors, I'm excited about their bench unit. Gary's going to be the main guy, the main staple. We saw McDaniels, who looked so good in the minutes that he played. You're going to have Boucher. Precious is obviously going to be there. He was injured in the first preseason game. And then what's interesting is that fifth guy is kind of up for grabs right now, because Darko did say that he does like using five guys from off the bench. And that fifth guy will basically be an arms race between guys like Grady Dick, who I thought was going to be a shoo-in for that, but you still got Otto Porter Jr., who's going to be healthy. You still
I
got
forgot he still
Matt
exists.
Young, Garrett Temple, Koloko. So the point is, the Raptors have a good situation there where they have multiple guys from off the bench who can contribute. So, yeah, I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but going back to the whole Gary Trent Jr. thing, I think he can open a lot of things up for the Raptors second unit, which is an area that they really struggled in last season.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, I'm not saying expect Gary Trent Jr. to shoot, and score 22 points a game off the bench, but if he can be this microwavable scorer that can be a legitimate threat from three, I think that's, a good sign for you that can go create for himself. I would like Gary Trent Jr. not to have 5 turnovers. I think all of Raptors Nation would agree with that statement. I think the Raptors are just kind of overly sloppy in general. They had 29 turnovers as a team. Now, granted, you could make a case like a lot of those turnovers did come from guys that probably aren't going to play a ton. But even then, like Jakob Poeltl had 4 turnovers. Dennis Schroeder, he only had 2, but Scotty had 3. Pascal had 2. Like I said, Gary had 5. Malachi Flynn, who I'm just like kind of, I don't want to say I'm out on Malachi Flynn, but I just wasn't like greatly impressed.
And this could be his last chance to really find himself on this team.
Yeah, like it wasn't. Yeah, he had. This is probably his last shot in terms of like full season, new head coach. Yeah, man, I think this might be his last shot here in Toronto. But yeah, I think Gary Trent Jr. is going to maybe even unlock some of this Raptors offense, which in recent years has kind of been a problem for this team in this new regime under Darko.
Well, that will perfectly segue us into the next thing I want to talk about. Darko's offense, his 0.5 offense. Now, I did a separate piece on this, and Sean is definitely the go-to guy when it comes to X's and O's. So I wanted to get your take on this offense, Sean, and just kind of break it down for the viewers watching at home. This is what Darko said to explain it in very basic terms. He said this during the Raptors broadcast, and I quote, 0.5 offense means making quick decisions. Every time a player catches the ball, he needs to be ready to attack, shoot, dribble, or pass the ball. We want to make quick decisions. We want to be able to play with the ball very quickly. We want to be able to execute in the half-court offense and play an unselfish style of basketball. Sean, what's your take on the 0.5 offense, and what can what insight can you provide when it comes to it?
Yeah, I think with this team, it makes a ton of sense. So like I said, Jakob Poeltl makes he's just such a clean fit. Like, not very many centers in the NBA. I can look at the box score and say 4 turnovers I'm okay with. But Jakob Poeltl, 4 turnovers in terms of because of how they're going to use him offensively, I'm kind of okay with that, right? Because Jakob Poeltl, they're going to run a decent chunk of the offense where he'll be like at the elbow, where I just love their elbow split action where you can get potential backdoor layups or pop out threes, things of that nature. The lay action, which is all stuff that he's super comfortable with from his time in San Antonio. Like I said, they're running a bunch of great actions. But like Darko said, and I'm glad he phrased it that way because I thought he was going to make it overly complicated, but he did make it pretty simple that's really all it is, where the 0.5 offense is just simplifying the play to a certain extent, where I catch it, I have 3 choices, like Darko said. I can either shoot it, I can either make a play, like quickly, like I said, it's a quick reaction, or I can pass it and I can go maybe cut or maybe do another action, right? And I loved, like you said, you mentioned the ball movement. The ball's moving a lot more to where even when they do like kind of go one-on-one, which wasn't even a ton. Let me double check. Yeah, the Raptors only had 6 scoring possessions in that first game where they had an isolation where they had a scoring possession off of ISO, which would scoring possessions or identified as percentage made shot, missed shot, foul, or turnover. They only had 6 of those possessions. But what they did have, and they didn't score well on those possessions either, but what they did have, Luca, they had 9 off-screen scoring possessions, scored great, 1.22 points per possession, really, really good. They had 9 handoff scoring possessions, 1.444 points per possession, insanely good. They had 28 spot up scoring possessions, which is like a driving kick to a guy in the corner on the opposite wing, and I either shoot it or like drive it right back in there, and I just kind of go create a play. The Raptors scored once again above 1 point per possession at 1.143. So I think it's really kind of the Raptors. They're embracing this kind of offense. Oh, geez, a second sound panel fell. And this again makes a ton of sense for like Scotty Barnes, who is his high IQ basketball player, where he gets to make a quick decision and he's attacking a moving defense where he's a guy that can process defenses at a pretty high level, but you're making it a lot simpler for Scotty to where, okay, it's a driving kick out to me. If I feel like I'm open, I'm gonna shoot it. If I feel like, it's maybe I don't have the shot right here, okay, I can either swing it, maybe get an assist, or I can drive it right back in there, use my athleticism. And Scotty's the guy that I trust that can attack off of closeouts at a high level. So basically, this 0.5 offense, move the ball at a high level. You got to be able to attack and put pressure on the rim, which again, Dennis is great at that. Scotty's great at that. This system even kind of makes some sense for Pascal too, to a certain degree. I think it's maybe more ideal for Scotty and more ideal for like Jakob, maybe even OG than is Pascal, where I think last season you might probably say the opposite, right? Whereas a little bit more Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam oriented, and the offense kind of catered to them. I think the offense kind of caters to everybody now, and it makes a ton of sense, like I said, for those three guys, Scotty, Jakob, and OG, which I think is what you want to see from the Raptors going forward, when especially OG and Scotty, those are the two dudes we've been saying for over a year now, Luca, that they got to step it up. And I think Darko is a player development guy and also implementing this offense. Super, super excited to watch this Raptors team, and kind of refreshing to see this style of play here in Toronto after what we witnessed with Dwayne Casey and then Nick Nurse. They're joining the trend in the NBA where floor spacing. And we never, and I'm sorry I'm going on a tangent here, Luca, but there were times in that game against Sacramento where even if with Dennis Schroeder and Scotty Barnes on the floor together and Jakob Poeltl, who none of them are shooting threats. I mean, Scotty can be, Dennis can be at times, but like if Scotty or Dennis shoots a catch and shoot three, you're more than what rather live with that than like a wide open layup or whatever. And even then, like the floor spacing was a lot better. And like the floor didn't seem super jammed up or clogged up.
Yeah, a lot less stagnant offense. That was a big takeaway that I forgot to mention.
Yep, there wasn't a whole lot of stagnation. Is that a word? Like the ball wasn't sticking, so that just increases your floor spacing as well, because then you get opposite guys like cut into the lane and get open layups off of cuts, or even if you cut hard, that cut can lead to a wide open three on the opposite side. So, yeah, it's really refreshing, Luca, seeing this Raptors offense operate at this potential level, and really excited to see it going forward.
And I think it just makes sense for the personnel that the Raptors have. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, to use a 0.5 offense makes sense for a team that's not necessarily good in ISO sets. And the Raptors don't have, players who operated well in ISO situations. Obviously, that is a part of Siakam's game. But when you're lacking kind of that like go-to star, that go-to scorer who could take over a game, this type of offense, this type of offense makes sense, I think, when you get more guys involved. And like you said, you're not catering just to like a Siakam and VanVleet anymore, and kind of you're using your strength in numbers. So I think the Raptors personnel is perfect for a type of offense like this.
Yeah, I agree. I think, that's kind of the best way to put it. They're running a lot more 5-out too than I feel like they have in years past, which again increases the floor spacing and the driving lanes for your great drivers like Pascal, like Scotty, like Dennis. So yeah, I think this offense makes a ton of sense for your personnel. And to a certain extent, there's a lot of teams kind of running this 5-out motion, like 0.5, if you will, offense. Like there's only a few teams in the NBA where I'm like, yeah, they probably don't want to run this. Philly's a team that comes to mind, ironically, where I'm saying, yeah, don't run this kind of offense, especially if Harden stays, right? Because Harden's an isocentric guy, and Embiid's an isocentric / post up guy. Even the Lakers, ironically, they don't say like the 0.5 thing. The Lakers are going to run more ISO than the Raptors, but in terms of like this 5-out kind of free flowing motion to a certain extent, they are running that a lot more this year. The Warriors, obviously, Denver, even I know we think of them with Jamal and Jokic as a team that'll run a lot of ISO, but Denver's kind of in the LA category where in terms of their motion offense, it's going to be this 5-out look where they're going to make quick decisions and very aggressive, but at the same time, smart and disciplined and know how to attack closeouts and, get the ball moving like crazy. Miami's another really good example, but, I'm super, super excited. And I think it'd be really, really interesting. I'm glad they didn't pull the trigger, but it would have been really, really interesting what Dame would look like in this Toronto offense. I'm sorry, Luca. I don't want to
do that to us, Sean.
any,
It's been a off season of agony with
I don't want to open
roller
any old wounds, but I think Pascal's gone after this year. I just don't think in the long term he's going to make a ton of sense for what this offense is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, I hope the Raptors just trade him before and like they don't do Fred VanVleet all over again. But it's Masai, and he's probably not going to do that. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited for this Raptors season.
Yeah, and we'll leave it there. I like how you kind of left the preview of that whole conversation because I don't want to get into it today. But what I will say, and again, I don't want to overreact to one preseason game, but one of the takes I had for this team, and I said this on my personal channel, was that I think we get to a point this season, Sean, where it does feel like it's Scotty Barnes' team because you got a little bit of that feel in the preseason. And granted, star players don't try in preseason games, which is why, Siakam wasn't inactive, and I'm no way looking at his performance from that night. But what I am saying is I think this season will reveal to us, especially if Scotty Barnes takes that leap, because this is contingent on that. And I truly believe he does take a leap, that it will feel like it's Barnes' team. And then the Raptors do have a decision of what they want to do. Siakam, if you coexist with Scotty Barnes at a high level, great. But then you got to decide, okay, like we might have to pay Siakam super max money if he makes the All-NBA team. So is that going to work long-term with these two pillars? Or is it going to come down to you have to choose one or the other? And obviously, Masai Ujiri and company have to make that decision. And we'll see what ends up happening because
please don't pick Pascal.
Unrestricted free agent.
Please don't pick Pat. I'm just saying, please don't pick Pascal if Scotty breaks out this year. Oh my gosh.
Well, so like hypothetically speaking, right? The Raptors face a huge decision. If Scotty absolutely breaks out, like he has that third-year leap that we're anticipating, and then you have Siakam, who's going to be due for a payday, even if he doesn't make the All-NBA and get the Supermax, he's still going to be eligible for a huge contract.
Right.
You're going to have to make a decision. I don't think this is sustainable long-term where both these guys are going to, you're going to have to pay these guys both an extreme amount of money. Like, I think it's one or the other. That's how I look at it. Like, am I wrong?
No, I think after this year, especially in this scenario, like you said, where Pascal gets is demanding the money that he potentially deserves, and then Scotty breaks out. Yeah, I think you have to pick one or the other. Which, if Scotty breaks out, it's Scotty
because he's younger and more upside, exactly. And then in theory, you would think, okay, then you shop Siakam,
better
and then
fit
you want
in the
to
offense,
like a star, not a star, but like an intriguing like wing prospect back in that potential deal.
Intriguing guard. Please get like an intriguing guard. I as a bystander, I don't want to watch Dennis Schroeder be the starting point guard for longer than this season. Because I think Dennis next year, if you can get a young good guard in here, and Dennis is the backup, I've always said I think that's like the preferred role for Dennis.
And that's what we were talking about, right? Like when we used to talk about like what direction we envision the Raptors, we weren't necessarily talking about a like full on tear down rebuild. It was no, like Scotty Barnes, you're building around him. If he does take this leap, again, this is all hypothetical talk, he hasn't done anything yet. If he does take this leap, in theory, you would want to pair him with a super intriguing young guard with upside, right?
That can score the ball efficiently, that can kind of set the table. That's probably like a less of a priority because I think Scotty can do a decent job like setting everybody else up. And I think the offense even is going to set everybody else up for themselves, if that makes sense. Like, okay, hypothetical. I don't know if this would ever be happening. This is just the first guard that popped into my head. Do not take any of this seriously. Tyrese Maxey, put him in here in Toronto. That's the first thing that popped in my head, but it's not happening because like why in the hell would Billy do that? But like that kind of guard that can just go score at a high level, that can shoot the three, get to the rim, has the mid range, solid playmaker, but not great. Because I don't think like you need this elite playmaker. But like that type of guard in this offense, I would really, really love to see.
Yeah,
and the pair next to Scotty.
And I think that's got to be the main reason why, Masai Ujiri and company are kind of going with the wait and see approach. I hope that's the reason why, where like they don't definitively know how the season's going to go and it could go one of two ways. And then they're going to make their decision based on how it goes. So it's going to be very interesting. And like I said, I'm glad Sean kind of put a little preview on that convo because we could go on for another like 30 minutes when it comes to the Raptors direction. But we'll save that conversation for a later day. What I do want to end today's show with is, our predictions for this season. And I can already tell, like, Sean's tone has changed a lot more positively towards the Raptors.
Since the last
My
podcast.
tone has changed a lot more positively from the preseason game that we saw. Again, I'm not letting that preseason game be the all end all, but I think like
Luca's saying the Raptors are winning the championship this year, guys. Book it.
Look, it's been a hell of a last couple of months, and I think Raptors fans, have maybe been overreacting to that game because they haven't had a lot to hang their hat on over these last couple of months. But you do feel good about this Raptors team going into the season. Now, granted, there are still 3 preseason games, but you could tell, our tone collectively has changed. But Sean, start us off here. What are some predictions that you have for the Raptors this season? They could be bold, they can be not bold. Where do you see the Raptors finishing? And I think you have a certain player on the Raptors winning an award because I did see you made your full predictions for the season on X.
Did I have him winning an award? Hold on, let me see.
I think you did.
Oh, let me find.
Or maybe did my bad if I confused you with somebody else, but I'm pretty sure you have somebody winning an award. If not,
hold on, I'm gonna find it.
I do. Now we're talking about the NBA awards because now is the time to make some predictions.
Yeah. Hold on. Crap.
I mean, you're gonna find it because you tweet like 1 billion times a day. So
yeah, I'm trying this search thing. Okay, there we go. Fish predictions. I did not. It was not a Raptor, but I can do one.
Oh damn! Okay, I thought you did one. Okay, that's my
bad. My most improved was Cade Cunningham, which for some reason got like a ton of backlash because people are like, "How can a number 1 overall pick, win most improved player?" I'm like, "Have you watched Cade Cunningham's career? Like, the dude has been able to stay healthy, so like, that in and of itself, he can win most improved player."
Okay, let's simplify this. Where do you have the Raptors finishing?
Sure,
and then also give us a Raptor to win an award your most likely Raptor, that's a better way of saying it. Your most likely Raptor to win an NBA award.
Sure. Record wise, the East is such like a cluster F, right? You complete the sentence. Because it's 2 teams in my eyes, potentially a third in the East. It's Boston, it's Milwaukee, and then Cleveland, if Evan Mobley can like be a consistent offensive presence, and if Darius Garland can like put it all back together where he was like this all-star guard 2 years ago, then he kind of had to learn to play next to Donovan Mitchell last season. If he can get back to and drops for a third time my sound panel. If Darius Garland can get back to that bona fide all-star caliber play, then I think the Cavs are going to be right there with those other 2 teams, and I like them getting Strus. But like after that, there's like 8 teams in the East that I think are all just going, up and down. I don't really know. Like it's Miami. I like Indiana a ton. New York, Philly, Brooklyn. I think it's in New York already. Atlanta, if I didn't say Atlanta, Toronto's in that bag. I like Orlando. Orlando's being underrated, I think. I loved Detroit with Monty this year. Like the only 2 teams I don't really love are Charlotte and Washington Eve. And then Charlotte's not going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And I think Washington's going to be bad, but Charlotte's not going to be terrible, right? So I'm going to do this way. The over-under right now for the Raptors is set at 36.5. This is per FanDuel, right? And actually, I think about that. Let me see where the Magic's over-under is at.
Which is pretty low, if you ask me. Like, I think,
Yeah.
the Vegas is definitely banking on the Raptors having a bad year.
Sheesh. The Pistons over-under is at 27.5. Good grief. What's the Hornets? Okay, the Hornets at 30.5 is kind of hilarious.
What is it?
The Hornets are at 30.5, but the Pistons are at 27.5.
Oh, 30. I heard 13. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh. I think I would take the over for this Raptors team at 36.5, especially because I think the most likely Raptor to win an award is Scotty Barnes as most improved player. I was kind of going, ironically, 2 guys in that class of 2021 year, the number 1 overall pick in Cade. He was number 1, right? Yeah, number 1 overall pick in Cade. And then the number 4 overall pick in Scotty. For the reasons we already kind of mentioned, right? Where Scotty's going to make a ton of sense for this offense. I think the ball's going to be in his hands a lot more this year. I would love to see the Raptors really get into their pick and roll bag with Scotty as the primary facilitator. I'm super, super excited to see that. Yeah, and I think this Raptors team, if they are healthy, this team's the team that I'm not going to say outright makes the playoffs. But this is a team that could be like a 7-8 seed. Or like, for sure, like a playing team, for sure. If this team is able to stay healthy, like Dennis, OG, Scotty, Pascal, Jakob, Gary, Boucher, Precious when he gets back, potentially Grady, Dick, Jalen McDaniels had pretty, good minutes. Otto Porter Jr., if that guy ever plays for the Raptors, Christian Coloco, I think, could potentially, play and be serviceable for you this season. But at the very least, that's like 10 dudes I just routed off that are going to be good rotation players, I think. Even Grady Dick, who's a rookie, like the fact that he can just shoot the lights out of the basketball and it's a good athlete and tries defensively, I think makes him a good rotation player for this Raptors team and another guy that's going to fit seamlessly into this Darko offense. So I think that's where I would lean at, Luca. And I think this is the most positive I felt about the Raptors since coming into last season. I don't think I've been this positive since this time last year, ironically.
Sean, you're going in circles here. You got to just give us a seeding, man. 1, universe on the line, or whatever the saying is.
Wait.
Give us
Celtics, Bucks, Cavs.
You got to hang your hat on this thing, because we are going to look back at these predictions of ours many months from now and see who got closer to it, or who got it right outright.
Okay. So Lucas, he's putting me in a corner here. All right, Bucks, Celtics. This is in order. I'm just kind of rolling with the teams. Bucks, Celtics, Cavs, Heat, Philly still, I suppose. Knicks. Although I think the Knicks are kind of being overrated, if I'm not gonna be completely honest with you. And then like I said, man, like 7, 8, 9, 10 is like Brooklyn, Indiana, Atlanta, Toronto, Orlando, like Detroit. Like 2 of those teams are gonna miss. I think Detroit misses. I think Detroit's a year away. I forgot about Chicago too, but I think Chicago is gonna blow it up at some point.
Yeah.
Atlanta 7. I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to say Toronto 9 because I really love Indiana. And I think I'm a little screw it. Indiana 7, Toronto 8. Toronto 8. Toronto 8.
Let's go. Sean's got the Raptors being an 8 seed, and that's actually what ESPN projected them being in their predictions the other day.
A rarity that ESPN's good at something at analysis, but neither here nor there.
Well, what I will say is this, before I give you my prediction, there are a lot of middling teams in the East. And I realized that the other day when I actually put together my Eastern Conference standings predictions. And it's safe to say, yeah, the two best teams, interchangeable, Bucks, Celtics. I agree with you. I think the Cavaliers are going to emerge as that third best team. Then you got the Sixers, who I think are still going to be good. Nick Nurse is going to do a good job, even if Harden is in there and he gets traded. I think Miami, you can never count them out, even though they're not really a regular season team. I could see them being a fifth seed. I agree. The Knicks, I think, do take a step back. I'm not high on the Knicks. And then this is where you get into to the middle of the pack teams. I'm not high on the Knicks, not high on the Hawks. The Bulls, I think, are going to blow it up. I agree with that. I do think Orlando and Indiana are going to take those leaps. I do like the Pistons a whole ton, but I think they're a year away from taking the leap. And then I agree with your bottom two teams. Look, Sean, I've been basically a heel, with the Raptors the last couple of months, and I have not liked
MJF babyface turn right here. Is that
where,
what we're looking at?
the trajectory of this team has gone. But something in me, when going through the standing, just seeing what the Raptors have to go up against and what's in front of them. Yeah, call it a face turn. I'm going face going into the season. The Toronto Raptors are going to finish 6th, and they will get a playoff spot.
Ooh, that's bold. Okay, I like it.
I have the Raptors as a 6th seed, and I actually did have them as like a 7th, 8th seed in the offseason, so it's not like a gigantic leap forward.
Sure.
I did think they were going to be a play-in team. I think all the talk about them missing the play-in was just ludicrous. I always said from the start, even when they lost Fred, I'm like, this team's going to end up being better without Fred, and I think that's going to prove to be true. So I think the Raptors get the 6th seed, but it will be dependent on something that I think is going to happen. And actually, this is going to lead me into the next thing I wanted to talk about to close out the show. Scotty Barnes will take a leap, and I actually have Scotty Barnes winning the most improved player of the year. I think he's the most likely Raptor to win an award. And I think this is the year that Scotty shuts everybody up, the naysayers. He really cements himself. And, we look at him as a true pillar to build around for this Raptors team moving forward. So I think that happens. And yeah, I think the Raptors do get a 6th spot and they do make the playoffs after a very, very, very bad previous season.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. I really am excited.
So who's your award before you get out of here?
Scotty.
Scotty as well?
Scotty's the most, yeah.
Okay,
Scotty's the most likely.
Okay, there you go. So Scotty is the most
likely.
likely.
I mean, who else would be? Like Gary?
I would say Gary Trent Jr. 6th man of the year. Yeah.
That's the only other one that I think.
Yeah.
I guess if the Raptors somehow were the 6th seed and kind of surpassed all expectations, Darko could get Coach of the Year considerations, but nah, I don't think it's you have to be viewed as the worst team in the NBA, near, to get Coach of the Year for being the 6th seed. With all
if the Raptors are a darn 3rd seed, yeah, for sure you're in that conversation.
Yeah, if they're a top 4 seed this year, okay, and Darko's probably gonna get it, but the odds of that happening are pretty slim.
Yeah, so I think I agree with that. It's Scotty Barnes followed by Gary Trent Jr. as a 6th man of the year award winner.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a ton of fun, and we could definitely keep going. But we'll stop it here. I know Sean's got a Lakers game to get ready for. But Sean, as always, man, it's always a blast having you on the show. Definitely going to have Sean in here and there as we go along, especially during the season. There's going to be a lot to talk about. Always great to have an outsider's perspective of the Raptors. And this was a lot of fun. You can go follow Sean. Sean is always tweeting away on or posting away on X. Sean, where can people find you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Sean_DABI. And I don't just post Lakers stuff. It is NBA content as well. There might be a Raptor in my NBA breakout list for my personal podcast, the Sports Headline Show, which I highly encourage you guys checking out. And yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun, man. This upcoming NBA season, I'm genuinely excited for, even though I'm not going to be sleeping a ton. So, Luke, if I sleep through next year's company dinner, this is why. I didn't sleep during the regular season, so I had to make it up. So, I appreciate you still so much, bro, for having me on. And this was fun. Hope to do it again soon.
Yeah, I had a blast. Thank you so much, Sean. Go and follow him on Twitter or X. I keep calling it Twitter. And also you can check out his work over at Lakers Nation. Does a great job with the post-game show. And he's going to have a lot more content on their channel. So you definitely don't want to miss that. That is going to conclude today's show. Hit a like, subscribe before you get out of here. Of course, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, stay safe.